This is the Orioles POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Baltimore Orioles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Finally, welcome back to the Locked On Orioles postcast and a midnight baseball fiesta. It is Orioles After Dark, 12:39 right now as we are recording live here, and we're celebrating a Baltimore Orioles win tonight, 4-1 over the Los Angeles Angels. 5-game losing streak, it is gone, and good to have just a clean, drama-free Baltimore Orioles win. I'm kidding about that last part. More on that in a minute. But first, if you're new here or tuning in for the first time, hello, my name is Luke Slaybaugh. Friday night turned into Saturday morning, and I'm glad to have you here. I'm the post-game show host. This is known as the Postcast. All season long, instant reaction for Baltimore Orioles games. Hopefully getting more wins than losses, and this one was much needed. As a reminder, Connor Newcomb still runs the daily Locked On Orioles show Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. You'll have ideally 2 episodes per day. His reaction in the morning and my post-game reaction after the final out. So thank you wherever you're listening. This is streamed live on YouTube. So if you're tuning in that way, want to say hi, leave a comment in the chat. Let me know your thoughts on the season so far. Does this change your perspective? Could things be trending in the right way? Let me know where you're watching from and any thoughts on the show. Of course, this is a work in progress. We've been doing this for 32 times now, I believe. This might be number 33 on the year, and I'm glad to have you here. But first, it's finally good to talk about the Orioles in whatever capacity they can, just feasting on the least of them.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The LA Angels are not a good team. And sitting in the basement of the American League West, it just goes to show that. Now, a lot of people were hoping that the Orioles could feast on a team near the bottom of the AL Central with the Minnesota Twins, but that completely backfired, being swept up in the Twin Cities. But the Angels have the worst on-base percentage in baseball, 14th best slugging, though, and 4th in home runs. Combine that with the second worst strikeout rate, they're very much an all-or-nothing offensive team. Compound that with the guy they had on the mound tonight, right-hander Kyle Hendricks, who's very much been in the twilight of his career for more than a year now, 35 years old. And if you ask me, probably should have hung it up mid last season with the Cubs. His ERA has been north of 5 for as long as we can remember. And yes, he had a pretty good outing against Detroit a week ago. And he had a great run being a part of that World Series championship team in 2016. But the stuff is nowhere near what it used to be, and the break isn't good enough to compensate for how well hitters can time him up. Case in point, the first couple of innings tonight for the Orioles. Hendricks' fastball maxes out at around 88 right now. Now, back in his heyday when he was in his prime, it could be into the lower to mid 90s, probably nothing greater than 94. But today, he's just a number of Angels who were cast off from the Cubs that probably should have called it quits by now. Hector Neris being another. Jorge Soler making a guest appearance in today's game, also after being scratched for apparent groin tightness. We've all been there, right, gents? So the Orioles, with the 4th worst record in baseball, needed a get-right game, and to be honest, a get-right series. They've had struggles on the road, as they've been well documented, 9 of 10 lost on the road, and of course, a 5-game losing streak. So a good, auspicious start to this game. Well, 2 outs in the first after Mullins, who's been struggling in the middle of a 2 for 30-something, and Adley Rutschman looking off balance and his batting average dipping down into the 210s and 200s. Gunnar Henderson teeing off. 2 outs in the first. Gets a changeup, launches it maybe a bit higher into the LA Anaheim sky than you would like. 37-degree launch angle, but it goes 400 feet. And thank goodness the Orioles finally score a run in the first inning. Get this, is the first time that the O's have scored in the first inning since April 19th against Cincinnati. That's 20 days and 16 games. Reason that the Orioles have been so far back on their heels is that they haven't been able to get a catalyst or get things going early in the game. I think part of that might coincide with Cedric Mullins' slump, and I might have a solution for that in the second block. But of course, the reason we're here and the reason we're talking about a 4-1 Orioles win is the man of the hour and our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
I don't know where we'd be without Tomo Sugano. Probably sitting at Adam's Tap House in Annapolis, just feasting on a crab pretzel, crying in our beer, watching the Emmys or something like that. What do dudes do when they're not here? Need a comment in the chat about that. Fourth quality start of the year for Tomo. Fifth good outing in a row. Remember that win against the Yankees, where he had them off balance. A really auspicious win. That wasn't a quality start. He only went 5 innings, 5 really well fought innings. But Tomoyuki Sugano, he's dealing. And he is the anchor of this rotation, showing some upside of it too. His command, his control, his run, and particularly the spin on the splitter looked really good tonight. Now that he's been given more than a month of major league regular season action, Tomoyuki Sugano has adjusted to the game. He's got a feel for the ball. He knows the way that an O's pitcher should handle himself. And that's what Jim Palmer said on the Masson broadcast tonight. 11 whiffs tonight for Tomo, 5 on that splitter. More spin on it than usual. Tomoyuki goes a season high and club best 7 1/3 innings. 1 earned run given up a little bit late, 3 hits, 5 strikeouts, and a goose egg in the walk column, 0. Only 1 extra base hit. As I mentioned in the 7th inning, Yoan Moncada hit a triple into the right field corner, kind of extended a 2-bagger into a 3. 1 bad pitch on a curveball from Tomoyuki Sugano, literally the first pitch of that inning, and gave up an RBI ground out, but was back on the horse right after that. 93 pitches and 65 4 strikes. So we're looking at Tomo Sugano now and where he stacks up among starters in Major League Baseball, a 2.72 ERA and a 1.01 whip. Cool whip. Walks and hits per innings pitched, 101. That's top 20 in Major League Baseball and tied for Casey Mize with 11th in the American League. Mize, we've already saw in the Detroit series up in Motor City, and then that's better than left-handed Chris Bubich, who we've seen from the Royals. He's done an excellent job for himself this year. Really great to see. I want to thank you all for joining me here on this midnight baseball fiesta. Baltimore Orioles beating the Los Angeles Angels 4-1. Coming up, of course, we can always pull some critiques out of this. We are going to talk about that bullpen that was late and breaking and had me on the edge of my seat. Had to take a couple swigs of cold brew to even get through that. And perhaps some solutions on offense. There's one thing that's really grinded my gears the last couple of weeks, and really all season. Why are these things more dramatic than they need to be? Some problems, some concerns, some solutions, and that will be coming up after some very, and I mean very, indispensable exec level messages just on the other side of this. But first, I mentioned I get swigs of coffee and I'm going to need one after this. The only reason I'm up right now is because of Trade Coffee. If you're gearing up for back-to-back meetings during the workday, and Lord knows you're in corporate America, you're in a cubicle, you will not see the light of day until 6 o'clock. Perhaps you work a great job in the tech center near Dulles. These are all possible options where Trade Coffee can change your life. Trade is the #1 coffee destination in the US. It delivers fresh, incredible coffee, and it's got 50 of the country's top roasters on their roster. I like what I did there, roasters on the roster. If Tomoyuki Sugano brewed coffee, he would be doing it for Trade. So I look forward to this, and I look forward to coffee in the mail because you can go to the store, you can walk across the street, you can go to the gas station, but it's just not going to stack up with what we've got going on right now with Trade. Let me know if you want some or you like some. I will bring it here on the podcast and tell you how jittered up I am right now. Right now, since Trade is, exclusively, one of our partners, they're offering customers 50% off your 1-month trial at drinktrade.com/lockedonmlb. That's all one word, locked on MLB, and trade.com/lockedonmlb for 50% off your 1 month trial. So thanks to Trade Coffee. They're a new sponsor here. Really glad to have them. Another thing, too, I mentioned that I was at a wedding this past weekend. And when I wasn't helping the groom get ready for this rave themed wedding, had some downtime. And that's where the Amazon Fire TV really locked in for me. You can turn your Fire TV into an Xbox. You can also use it for a lot of cool streaming stuff as well. So no console required. Just grab a paired controller. You can subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play. If you want to play some stuff, EA Sports College Football 25, can't wait for 26, Call of Duty Black Ops, a lot of good titles. You can also, and this is what I do, stream my favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, it's entertainment made simple, all on your Fire TV. So, endless entertainment. And I'm talking streaming Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus, Max, Apple TV. You know the deal. Couple of my favorites right now. I just binged season 5, the final season of You. Wanted to see Joe Goldberg get his comeuppance. And Lord knows I was surprised. The final episode, the big twist, where, I thought he was going to get away with everything. And he ended up being the sideline reporter for the Kansas City Royals. I don't know. And then Your Friends and Neighbors with Don Draper himself, John Hamm, St. Louis native. So those are all really good reasons to get the Amazon Fire TV and the 4K devices, the stick 4K, if you will. Head to amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On. Get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. We've got one last mid-roll. I appreciate you all coming here on this Friday night, early Saturday morning, as we talk about this 4-1 win over the LA Angels and our final sponsor tonight, FanDuel. Been with us for a long time. We love FanDuel, and they've got a lot of great deals and promos going on. NBA playoffs, of course, happening right now. OKC and Denver going on right now. Is Nikola Jokic going to hit a three-pointer? I don't know. Is Jamal Murray your number one scoring option? A lot of great props and parlays you can make, especially in game. And FanDuel is making it easy to stay in the game because there's so many good moments going on in the NBA playoffs. And if you've got a good read on who's heating up, Spida in Cleveland, Cavaliers stuck it to the Pacers tonight. These are all great things, and FanDuel wants you to cash in on this stuff right here, right now. If you are a new customer, you place a $5 bet and you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets, and that's pretty much free money on the house. It's a perfect time to sign up if you're new to FanDuel. You can head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet, and if it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. I was not lying. So make every moment more with FanDuel. That's the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We are glad to have them here on Locked On. I do appreciate it. 3 mid-rolls, folks, as we are here on the Midnight Baseball Fiesta. Some concerns about the Baltimore Orioles offense not living up to the bill. And I don't want to be a stat-heavy person in this block because we're 14 minutes into this bad boy and we still haven't talked about some of the most drama in this game. Kind of wanted to get Yennier Cano up front, up top, but then I thought that wasn't the main takeaway. We just got to bask in this win. And what is killing me, and probably killing you, is the offense's inability to step on people's throats. Case in point, top of the 8th, Ryan Mountcastle leads off. 10-pitch at bat against former Oriole great Sean Anderson. And he gets on. He singles. Thank goodness. Tyler O'Neill, back from the injured list. He strikes out on 6 pitches, and Ramon Laureano ends the inning by striking out looking. 6 batters had been retired, 6 in a row, after Kyle Hendricks got lifted after 5+ in the 6th inning. Now, we have bemoaned the Orioles' inability to hit with runners in scoring position and leaving runners on base with 2 outs, especially in scoring position, and especially against Minnesota, because that was just downright atrocious to score 1, 2, and 2 runs over that span. And when the margin for error is this thin, when you have a lot of people on the injured list, but also just an offensive plate approach that has been lacking for weeks, started out feast or famine, and now there's no feasting. You've got to put people away and you've got to see pitches. Now, to their credit, in that second inning where the Orioles scored 2 runs and made it 3-0, to their credit, Cedric Mullins and Adley tried. They're just scuffling. To recap how we got here, they had an opportunity to put this away against Kyle Hendricks in the second. O'Hearn walks, O'Neill walks in his first plate appearance, back from the injured list from that neck stiffness. Been told that that was more than just hurting it on a dive in Kansas City, that he just couldn't turn his head. And again, single male over 30, I've been there. I don't know mattresses. I don't know self-care. So 2 walks to lead off the inning. In the words of the great Napoleon Bonaparte, let's scratch that great part. Former French influencer Napoleon Bonaparte once said, when your enemy is making a mistake, do not interrupt him or her or they, them. Jackson Holliday. Sinker down, first pitch swinging, RBI single makes it a 2-0 game. Laureano, next batter, a little overeager in this plate appearance. He strikes out looking on the change. And Emmanuel Rivera, who has been a delight, hits a single on the ground to the left side. So O'Hearn and O'Neill score. Mullins flies out, and Adley lines out. And aside on Jackson Holliday, since much has been made of his one-on-one meeting with his father, a good man, Matt Holliday, earlier this season, actually a week or 2 ago, Matt Holliday himself was 7 of 15 against Kyle Hendricks when Hendricks was on the Cubs, and Holliday was wrapping up his time with the St. Louis Cardinals from 2014 to 2016. He had his number. And Emmanuel Rivera has also just been 8 for 19 since being brought up. Mainly a shoe-in for third base, belongs on a major league roster somewhere as a utility man, maybe play some first, maybe get some DH in there. There's not one trait that is extraordinary, as I found out in his heyday in Kansas City. But he's definitely making a case to stick. You need the bat to play. And he got things started in the ninth. Probably should have been a fly out, but pops up a ball to center field. Matthew Lugo making his major league debut, center fielder. Had this erroneous drop step, couldn't come in and grab the ball, so it's just kind of bloops in there for a single. The epitome of a blooper. 24th birthday for Matthew Lugo in center field, was a pinch runner in the inning prior. The nephew of Carlos Beltran. Now, Carlos Beltran, notable for several reasons. Most recently, for never having lost a game as the New York Mets manager. I still get emails from Mickey Callaway. And so, just as Kenley Jansen and the Angels relief corps, Sean Anderson as well, are about to get out of this inning, Gunnar hits a triple down the right field line and gratefully tacks on an insurance run. Makes it a 4-1 ball game. Hopefully, this is the start of a trend to step on their throats. All gas, no brakes. Plate approach has to be consistent, and it has to be about moving the baton. I applaud Jackson Holliday for jumping on the first pitch. He saw it. He's hot. That's great. Laureano, Mullins, Adley, bottom of the order, left a little bit to be desired. They had a prime opportunity to put this one away. It's good to see Tyler O'Neill return. Good first game back for him. Hopefully we start to see him unlocked. 1 for 3 with a walk, run scored, 1 strikeout. Kobe Mayo is sent down to AAA. in a corresponding move. Boy, bye. And of course, the only reason that we had been crossing our fingers, everything we got, praying for the Orioles to get some insurance runs, is just how shaky Yenyer Cano has looked the last couple of outings. Now, if I were manager Brandon Hyde, I probably would not have had him pitch back-to-back days, particularly because he just collapsed yesterday, and it looked like he was going to do the same. Expanded brain thinking here, of course, Sugano gets the first batter out in the bottom of the eighth for Nifo. So Yenyer Cano is in, gives up a single to Joe Dell. Cool. Fastball high. It's whatever. Then Jorge Soler, with the aforementioned groin injury, comes in, just kind of a cameo role. Doesn't have to get the bat off his shoulder, and he walks. So now we got a runner in scoring position with one out. Cue one of the most dramatic and most stubborn one-on-one matchups we've seen. Cano going up against Zachary Neto, 13 pitch at bat, and to the end, 10 consecutive sinkers before he strikes out. And that is just a lesson in tenacity. Gets him to strike out swinging, and extraordinary. Keegan Aiken comes in. Left-hander goes up against Nolan Schanuel. Flies out to Mullins. Thank goodness they got out of it clean. And that's all I got to say about that. 35 pitch inning from O's pitchers. And you combine Sugano, Cano, Aiken, 3 pitchers for 3 outs. 30 pitches from the Angels in that top half of the frame. And no runs for the O's. So we pivot and we turn to tomorrow. 9:38 first pitch again on Masson. Another midnight show. It's going to be great. I appreciate y'all being here. And it's right-hander Kyle Gibson. He of the 14.09 ERA, looking to get things together. Kind of from going off his couch to going to Norfolk to going to the major leagues. It has not been smooth sailing for him. Luckily, we've got an inconsistent starter going up for the Angels, and right-hander Jack Kahanowitz. I had to practice that. And yeah, that's Masson and MLB Network for out-of-market streamers. I want to say thank you here for joining me here on the Locked On Orioles postcast, live on YouTube as we have passed 1 a.m. on Saturday morning. Orioles after dark. They snap a 5-game losing streak in a 4-1 win over the LA Angels. We'll be back here tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, but for now, I just want to say thank you for listening and for watching. Leave a comment, leave a rating. Let me know what you thought, and I will see you right back here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Final score, Los Angeles 1 and the Baltimore Orioles 4.